What's up? What's going on? How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? Let's get down to the situation. Please like, comment, subscribe, share the video, y'all. So let's get into this whole situation. This is crazy when it comes down to Wendy Williams, her health, and what's going on in her life, and the people that are possibly taking advantage of her. And basically now her son, Kevin Hunter Jr., he's basically done an interview and broke his silence to speak on his concerns and how, his mom is being taken advantage of, and these people are robbing her blind and pushing her off the cliff. And he sees that the end is near if his mom doesn't get any help. And he also states his mom seems like she understands things and she's coherent, but she's really not. And you might think that she wants to have fun, but she really doesn't. So he's just lost for a lack of words. And also he's like bound and tied, where right now he has no control over the situation, but he wants it to change, and he's trying to find the steps to do these things. This is crazy for real. And it's also very sad because same thing Kevin Hunter Jr. said was his mother's story and what's going on in her life does not supposed to be like this. And that is very, very true. So at this point, when it comes to Kevin Jr., he is calling out Wendy Williams' manager, Will Shelby, that used to be her jeweler, and basically saying that this guy is taking advantage of his mother. He feels in a certain type of way that she was vulnerable, a year ago or a year and a half ago when she was in rehab and she was in Malibu, and right after leaving rehab, this is when Kevin Hunter Jr. finds out his mother then signed a contract with Will Shelby, and now she's working and she just needs to get better. So basically he feels like his mother was vulnerable. And then when it comes to Wendy Williams' publicist, she's in the far right in the picture. When it comes to Sean Zanotti, she's not really doing anything either, and they're not keeping in contact with the family, and people just surrounding her, knowing everything that's going on, and basically helping her indulge in things that can actually remove her from this earth, especially when she battles a severe alcoholism problem. So it's a whole lot craziness going on. And also Kevin Jr. states that when it comes to Wendy Williams' guardian, Sabrina Morrison, she is one of the people that's supposed to be protecting his mom and making sure everything's okay, but he is saying that her has deteriorated so much in her care, and when his mother was in his care, she was doing very well. And also he's thinking that his mother was preyed upon by these people. And when it comes to Sabrina, the guardian, Kevin Jr. states that there might be some funny business going on in the situation because she fails to reach out to the family and let them know what's going on. And also she doesn't talk to the family. And why would you do that? If you're supposed to be court appointed and you're supposed to be neutral, why are you close the door on the family? But yet she is buddy when it comes to Wendy Williams' manager, Will Shelby, and he thinks that Will Shelby could be giving Sabrina some money on the side to keep her mouth closed or do what needs to be done in this whole situation. So basically he is saying his mother is surrounded by wolves and they're taking advantage of her. And Kevin Jr. states that when his mom signed the contract with Will, she was just getting out of rehab, in Malibu a year ago or a year and a half ago. And how you gonna sign the contract when you're just getting out of rehab? You ain't all there yet. So this is a total crazy situation. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Kevin Jr., he really is basically trying to get help. He's trying to let the public know what is actually going on with his mother. And Kevin Jr. states his mom, her mental and her physical health has basically been put in jeopardy and has been in jeopardy as soon as Wendy Williams went under a guardianship with Sabrina. Okay, this is a crazy situation. And he also states his mother battled alcohol so bad that these people are profiting off of her illness because they're able to take advantage of her because she's intoxicated. She don't know what's going on. You're feeding her poison, the poison that is killing her, the poison that she don't supposed to be drinking, but also the poison that basically keeps her in a stoop where people can do whatever they want to do around her, which is her new team that Kevin Junior is worried about. He's worried about his mother. Imagine watching your mother, go through these things publicly, as far as, losing the job, then the rehab, and then watching people parade your mother around different interviews, different parties, different shows, and you can see that your mother's deteriorating. Her health doesn't look good. You can see that she's drinking. You can see that she's wandering off. You can see that she's by herself, and it's just crazy because he's saying that they're really profiting off of this whole situation. And also, Kevin states that when his mother was in a hospital in mid-May, that he had no idea that his mother was in a hospital. He had no clue. And as you can see on the screen, Wendy Williams eating healthy, that was when she was living with Kevin Hunter Jr., that she was eating healthy. She was going to restaurants. She was going to, places. She was walking on the beach, as you can see on the screen. She was getting exercise. She was working out. She was eating right. He basically followed the Dr. Sebi diet that saved him for his mother, but then he said his mother was taken away from him. She was rushed off to New York after she got out of rehab, and therefore he lost, the connection he had with his mother. And then from there, if she's being fed the things that are killing her, that she don't supposed to have, she's not going to be clear-minded. If she's already confused, if she's already missing a beat, adding alcohol is just going to deteriorate and increase that behavior to the fullest. So it's just really a crazy situation all the way together. So in any event, when it comes to Kevin Jr., he basically says he didn't even know that his mom was in the hospital. He didn't even know his mom was released from the hospital. No one told him that his mom was released from the hospital in mid-May of this year. You know what I mean? He just he didn't even know that his mom had moved from New York, because when it comes to Wendy's manager, Will Shelby, he basically says that Wendy no longer lives in New York. Okay. And that's how Kevin Jr. found out about his mother not living in New York. So if she's not in her condo anymore, who's in her condo? Has it been sold? Is she living in LA? Is she living in a rental property? Has her property been sold? So I know there's a lot of questions that, is basically going on in her son's mind while he's actually trying to, go to college as well. It got to just be crazy, a difficult time to, just watch this happen to anybody, especially when the blood relatives of the family have no control over anything. And any event, when it comes down to Wendy's publicist, around May 20th, the publicist basically stated that Wendy Williams was never in a hospital. And the publicist is right here to your right, states that, Wendy Williams was never in the hospital, and confirmed that the reports of Wendy Williams being in the hospital is not true. But Kevin Jr. says that it was confirmed by Will Shelby, the jeweler turned manager. So there's a whole lot going on, y'all. So and it's like so crazy that this is happening to an icon like Wendy Williams, that the vultures done got her. And sometimes this happen when the vultures, they come and get you. And it seems like the vultures done came and got Wendy. And right now her son, he's doing his best to speak out, because he's saying at first Wendy's new team, it wasn't a problem. He didn't have a problem with Wendy's new team. But now he's seeing that he does have a problem, because the speaking engagements, the things that they have Wendy Williams doing, it does not make any sense. And as you guys know, Wendy was scheduled last month in May to speak at an engagement, on May 20th for the Atlanta Women's Expo. And she canceled, days before due to her failing health and what she looked like, because her health was deteriorating. This is what Kevin Jr. states about this whole situation. So that's apparently her health was declining so bad that she could not go to that expo. Okay, because then everything will hit the fan and everything will be exposed as probably about what Wendy's actually going through and what's really happening, because people will maybe start asking questions. And Kevin is very concerned, for his mother. He's very concerned about this whole situation, and I can only imagine what he's going through and what he's facing. And Kevin's concern is that his mom's health is declining, and also he's watching her health decline, and it's really bothering him, because especially when he knows that in Florida around 2021 to around the spring of 2022, when his mom was living with him, that she was doing so well, she was living well, she was eating well, she was just doing great. And then watching this happen, knowing that there's a cure, knowing that his mom could get better, she can be comfortable, she can be happy, and she can be physically able to do a lot of different things, but she's not getting the rest. And so now he's saying under his custody, when he had his mom around this time, she wasn't walking around New York barefooted. She wasn't wandering around, the condo or the big estate that she stays in New York, luxury condo. She wasn't running around there or walking around in a bathrobe with, no shoes on. So there's a whole lot going on in this whole situation, which is just, bad. It's just bad. And in any event, he says that his mother alcohol is just so bad in the way, and the rate that Wendy Williams consume alcohol is just so bad that basically she's not your regular alcoholic. She's not your regular drinker. When she drinks, and she's going to drink until she can't drink anymore. And that's a problem, because her body, you can already see that she's frail. You can already see that she already suffers from other ailments, and having alcohol and drinking alcohol is going to make her even worse, especially if her body does not process alcohol like other people bodies, process alcohol. And basically Kevin Jr. is saying the issue with his mother's drinking is that other people can drink, but with Wendy drinks, the alcohol stays in her system. I guess it just sits around in there and it just marinates, and it could basically be eating her alive, because, maybe she's not producing enough water. She's not producing enough, activities where she's sweating out the alcohol, or drinking enough water where she can, flush her system. So maybe her system is not able to flush out the alcohol that she's drinking. So now she's basically just staying drunk all day and possibly in a stupor, which is just totally crazy. And how are they going to put her on camera? You know what I mean? So basically he's saying that her health is just bad, and he knows this because when he took her to the doctors, or he went to her doctor's appointments in Florida when she was there before she was dragged off, that the doctors was explaining to him how alcohol really, is eating his mother alive, because it just sits there, it stays in her body. It does not evaporate. It just stays there, and whatever it's doing, and your brain floating around in alcohol for hours and just staying there, that if you're having any type of dementia, if you're having any type of forgetfulness, or your motor skills are not that great, alcohol sitting there in your body is just going to make you deteriorate even faster. So, this is a whole terrible situation. So, his mother nearly spent 3 months in rehab from August to October of 2022 for her alcoholism. And also that's when he was told that his mother had immediately after that signed a working agreement with Will Shelby. And basically, he just hoped that it was going to be for the betterment of his mother, but at this point he realized that it's not for the betterment of his mother. And then he realized these projects that they have his mother doing, and having her behind the camera and having her working, and it's just awful. And he also is very heartbroken that his mother actually chose to go to rehab, and then she had snakes come and get her after she got out of rehab to do something for herself, to basically take advantage of her and feed her poison, or allow the poison to be in her life. So basically, when it comes to Kevin, he says he doesn't have any hard feelings towards these people, but because he knows that they're just workers, and they're just being hired to do a job. And what do you expect from people that's just hired to do a job? But he also said that they're taking advantage of her, because they're basically trying to create the best situation for themselves, and they're not looking out for Wendy Williams. And how can you expect them to when they're hired help and they have ulterior motives? Basically knowing that she needs to rest and get healthy, and not be out here partying and hanging hanging out and doing things that, are detrimental to her health, and also things that embarrass her legacy or, tarnish her legacy. You know what I mean? She's supposed to be living these years out quiet right now. If she's ready to work, she should work. But as you can see, she's not ready to work because she would have been working, because Wendy is a workaholic. Kevin Jr. believes if they're not giving her the alcohol, they're definitely not preventing her from getting alcohol, and they're definitely most likely encouraging her to have alcohol because you can control the way that she acts. You control the rate of how she acts and what you want her to do. So roll over her if you are dangling a bottle in her face. And then also she's in a stupor, so she's going to agree and say ha ha, yes yes to things when she doesn't understand it, because you may think she drank on Sunday, but Monday Wendy may still have a lot of alcohol left in her system, especially if the alcohol is just sitting in her system like her son said the doctors told him. So y'all tell me what y'all think about this whole situation. And she said basically he feels like they have green lighted his mom into drinking, and basically it's just a whole sad situation all the way together. And Kevin Jr. also states he feels like these people don't understand the severity of Wendy's sickness. They don't understand the severity of her illness. They just don't understand that Wendy may not be coherent, and they believe that she is. And this is what, makes him not hate them or not want to hurt them in any way, because he feels like they don't know what's actually going on with her health, because they ain't taking the time to, but at the same time, they don't care. So in any event, Kevin Jr. basically let it be known that they approach him to be a part of the reality TV show that Wendy Williams is supposed to be a part of. He was approached by Will Shelby, and he basically didn't respond, and he was approached last year, and he didn't respond, and he thought that it was a bad idea because his mother should not be behind a camera at all, but he didn't say anything. And then he was approached the second time and basically asked to be a part of the project. They offered him $25,000. At the second time, the producer of the show asked him to be a part of it, and he declined, and he said no. So basically, he just hopes his mother gets better. Will Shelby, he responds to Kevin Jr., interview, and basically said it's not true, and he don't need to answer any questions. It's not true. And he basically tries to have a conversation when it comes to Kevin Jr., and he tried to have this difficult conversation with her son, but he refused to talk to him. And so he cornered him to ask him what was going on, what was wrong. And he said he's not going to answer any questions. And the rest of allegedly people that are taking advantage of Wendy, Sabrina and Sean, did not respond.